you so much for sticking to Y254. Welcome back. I am Sherry Blessing and we are here for the Power Talk Show. Today we're having a conversation on when the right time to introduce your spouse to your family and friends is. And I'm joined here by two amazing people who are giving me such insight. I'm here with Glantwill and Hilda, and we've been having such a wonderful conversation. I like that we've had some contrasting opinions, but we are getting somewhere together. And I want to hear from you as well. You can do that by going to our platforms at Y254 and let me know when you think is the right time to introduce your spouse to your friends and to your family, especially in this season. Because you know, we're in the Christmas season, all our friends are gathered together, our families are at home together. So is it the right time to introduce your family to your spouse during the Christmas season, or at what point do you do that? And we were just talking about before, we've talked about when to take our spouses home. For you, Glantwill, you think you should take them immediately so that your mom has an idea of who this person is. And Hilda has the opinion of their steps to dating and courtship and to get to marriage. And at the level of courtship, that's when you have the introduction, the formal introduction. And we were just talking about the parents' approval, because as we always, I think as Africans, and just generally, most kids seek their parents' approval. We want our parents to agree with whatever we think we're doing, because that stamp of approval means something. But we've just come to the conclusion that sometimes our parents don't always have an idea of what's best for us. They think from their perspective that this is what's best for us, but they don't know us that well. And Hilda, one thing that you mentioned that I loved during the first half before we went on a break was your spouse told you there's this habit within you that I want you to change for us to be together. And with marriage and relationships, it takes a lot of compromise. Most times it has to come from within. We have to do a lot of shadow work, reflecting on ourselves so that we can become better for our spouses. And so Chaliako, who's your husband now, alikupatia cheat code. Akakwambia, ukienda hivi, unaweza choma. But do this approach, work on this, and then we can do better in future. Do you recommend doing that? Do you recommend telling your partner, I know my mom, I know my dad likes this and that. So if you work on that a bit, when I take you home, you're more likely to get approved as opposed to just taking them like that.
It was not on the idea of my mom, my dad. It was about the two of us, because at the end of the day, he's come from a different background. I've been raised different. So when we are coming together, we have to make our own path. So for him to tell me, listen, but before he ever told me about the anger issues, no one had ever confronted me about that. So I look at this man and I look at him in the point of he wants a better version of me. So looking back, I was like, by the way, mimi nakuanga na hasira mbaya. I need to calm down. And nikaji analyze vizuri, and I realized it's a generational thing. So I had to break it to save my marriage. Because I was imagining ningeingia marriage na hiyo attitude, my friend, ningepack kesho niende kwetu. You know? So there are things in him I didn't like. There are things in me he didn't like. You know, we have weaknesses, but there are some things that we can work on before marriage, because when you don't work on them before marriage, you'll enter marriage and the marriage exposes you. It escalates some things. So kuna tu vitu wewe unaangalia partner yako unaona hii hatuwezi ishi nayo hivyo. We have to work on it. And it's not working on it to, you know, please the other person. It is even for yourself to be a better version of yourself. So it's not because I need approval from their parents, it's just because I want us to work. And that working, there are things I need to, you know, there's a way I'm supposed to address him, you know. Kuna tu vitu you're supposed to work on in your dating and courtship days so that you don't enter with them in marriage. And it's important to note those things. And some things are even red flags, you know, uyu, hey, hapa kidogo. When you look at your partner with whatever they're doing, are you okay that when you get married to this person, you're okay with those things? If you're okay, proceed. But if it's not giving you peace, ebu, angalia hiyo maneno.
That's true.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that you've said it wasn't necessarily about the parents.
Yes.
It was about the two of you. It was about making it work for both of you guys.
Yeah.
But mi bado nataka ni focus kwa wazazi. Cause unajua saa ingine unataka uambie tu mtu wako safisha rada. Cause you might come home with a short dress.
That will come with pretense.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
So you wouldn't recommend that?
Just be you. Be you. And when you're dating, be you. Wacha partner yako aone yenyewe hapa kuna shida.
Yeah.
Let's address this problem. The more you pretend, my God, let me tell you, you will enter marriage.
And it's going to be. What about you? What do you think about that, Glanto? Because you know there are things that perhaps you have conservative parents and like let me give an example. My mom is very Christian, staunch Christian. So if I take my partner home and then the first playlist anaeka ni sijui trap ama sijui nini, my mom is going to be like, no, this is not a child of God.
Yeah.
No, I get that.
Yeah, you have to come in with Hillsong. You have to come in with, the fire of the Lord.
Yeah.
So sometimes it helps to tell your partner, just do this so that just you're the first time for the first impression. Or what do you think? Do you think it's a bad thing to do that?
Can I just say something before he speaks?
Yes,
He has
please.
something to say.
Of course, I have something to say.
Just allow me to say this. Let me give a brief example. You see, me when I was growing up, I used to be this girl, still as mom to in the church, Like I didn't have that relationship with God, But when I met my husband, he was now,
Straightforward.
And he helped me now have that relationship with God. He reintroduced me to, and that helped me even now during me being introduced to his parents.
Yeah.
Because now I had mastered this art, and I was like, by the way, what have I been doing? What was my life outside God, So I had to work on that. So it's like a process. So by the time you're going for introduction, there is something you have. The point is you have become a better version of yourself, and there are things you have worked on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So through the relationship, not just before the introduction.
Yes.
Okay. What?
Okay, of course I have something to say.
Please.
Let me tell you, I have to tell them to hide the things. This is how I'm going to even explain myself. If you met a man today, anakuapproach, akwambie, Cheryl, mi sina kazi, niko na shida, sina mbele, sina nyuma, would you get married to them?
No.
You wouldn't. They would even probably lie to you, anaishi Lavington and they live in Kawangware, only for you to board a mat and go all the way and discover, oh my God, it's not Lavington, it's Kawangware. So that means there's a face he has to put for you to win you over.
Yeah.
The same thing has to happen with our parents. If you put out all your cards, akieka tu hivi, the next thing they're going to say is, huyu hapana.
Yeah.
So your partner has to hide certain things.
But what happens to authenticity though?
I know, but at the same time, we're human beings and we live for deception.
Yeah.
And that's the reality. If I came to you today nikwambie, nisaidie na 10,000 shillings, I'll pay you back tomorrow. When I know very well I don't have the money to pay you tomorrow, you'll give me the 10,000.
Yeah.
But if I came to you and told you, nisaidie na 10,000, na sijui nitakulipa lini, you'll tell me you don't have. True or false? True. Whether you are saved or not, you will buy that story, or I'll pay you tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we live for deception. We are human beings, and it's the same thing. If you allow your partner to come out with that anger and bring it all on, to come with that short dress, and you know very well your mom does not like ladies who wear short dresses, she'll automatically cancel this relationship.
Yeah.
Now, you'll not have this. You talked about parental blessings. They are key. You actually need parental, every one of us needs parental blessings. And that's why that is actually the greatest command. For us to obey our parents is the greatest commandment, because the Bible believes, or God believes, that blessings do come from parents. Because those are not blessings zenye tunapata huku kwa kazi, promotions and all that stuff. Yeah. So if at all I'm going to get married to you and you've placed all your cards all out here and my parents do not accept you, then it means our union is not blessed by our parents. Because once they say no to it, in as much as I'm going to give them time, to give them time to see if actually you're a good person, you trying to prove to them you're a good person, it's gonna be close to impossible.
But that is why you're supposed to go through the dating and courtship process. You work on those things before you introduce that person to your parents. And you need to work on that mini skirt.
But what if, let us be realistic.
I am not working on the miniskirt because probably I like miniskirt.
Exactly.
That's why I'm not working
What
on
if
it.
the lifestyle that you guys live, advocates for what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's not that you're deceiving. Okay, I don't like the term deception. With deception, it shows that you're lying.
Yeah.
What it's just about putting your best face forward.
Yeah.
Because what if you see the way I have like tattoos and all that?
Yeah.
There are things that I can't change. There are things that you can't change about yourself.
Yeah.
But there are things that people can live with because they're not necessarily bad. They're not vices that you have and you're going to ruin our family because of that. It's just small things that if the people know, they'll judge you because they don't know you that well. So they'll get the impression, no, this is just a party girl who does this and that. So it's about creating the good first impression and then wanakujua kidogo. Like mbele ndo ako like, oh, kumbe ako na tattoos, but anaendanga church.
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm talking about.
You know, so it's about concealing the bad so that unaonyesha, because
Or
trust you me,
protecting. Is it protecting?
the family is also hiding some things behind the
Of course.
scenes. Because when you take your people home, it takes me to the next thing. When you take your people home, already unajua kuna kwanga na tu drama nyumbani.
Yeah, of course.
Maybe mama yako anakwanga anakelelesha tu watu kutoka asubuhi, or baba yako ni mtu amekuja amekaa tu akikaa hivi kila mtu ametoka sitting room. You know, or maybe your siblings are very disobedient and they jump on the tables and all that.
Yeah.
So unawapanga aje? How do you tell your family, I'm bringing someone home? Msichome. Msiban. Because maybe your family is the one that can scare off your partner.
The other person.
So how do you tell
it could
them?
be two-way.
Hey, you know, it's two-way because this is one individual, but then there's also the counter side. And with families, there usually a lot of things behind the scenes. So do you let your family show exactly who they are on the first date and you're like, let him take it or leave it?
Yeah.
Or what do you do? Or do you tell them, just act right?
Yeah.
Just sufficient irada. And then after 3 weeks, you can show who you really are.
I
What do you do?
kind of now understand what you're saying. I believe in the power of communication. And I'll explain. You see, when I was being introduced to that family, my husband aliniambia hivi, listen, my mom is like this. My dad is like this. My sister is like this. My brother is like this. So in my mind, I had a picture of what kind of family I'm going to deal with. So that hata Mungu akinibariki, I get married to that family, I know how to handle this sister.
Yeah.
Because he knows her better. So I know what boundary to cross. And what not to do when with her, just to avoid confrontation.
Yeah.
So the power of communication, me I believe just communicate. Acha mtu wako ajue watu wako wako hivi. Na wewe wacha yeye ajue watu wako wako hivi. So that when you join together, you're not conflicting. You know what level to go and what boundaries to have.
Yeah.
So even during that introduction, they of course, in our Africans' home, when we have visitors, we behave. We behave because we have a visitor.
Yeah.
So when you're getting to know each other, please let your partner know you know how your siblings act, what is their character, so that ukiingia hapo unajua sister yake hapendangi mtu akifanya hivi. You avoid that to avoid having problems with even your in-laws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's about communication and about just being open and telling them, by the way, this is what happens, just be prepared for that.
So that you don't get there and get shocked. Hadi unasema na mbona nimeolewa kwa hii familia?
Exactly. And you know, let me tell you, things like that happen.
Yeah.
You get into a family and then umeka hivi kwa dinner one time and things are happening and you're like, oh my God, I did not realize these people are crazy. But you're stuck there. You're married to that family.
So when you've been communicated to, it becomes easier for you to maneuver that that period.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what about, because I know, let me talk about you.
I don't agree, and it's not from a point of I'm just trying to be different from her. No. I love when people experience other people for themselves. Because personally, I think I have formed different relationships with different people. I relate with people differently based off how they come. How you come at me is how I'll relate with you. So I feel like if I introduce them to my family and I don't tell them exactly how they are, maybe hata venye na sister yangu labda na shoutingi na pigana mnoma, they might end up being friends and she doesn't shout on this day. Na so I already pictured her to her as somebody who is always shouting, somebody who is always like this, like that, messy and all that stuff. But come this day, she's not actually doing all that because probably they sink, the energy is much, and she doesn't see the need to do all that stuff. So I don't believe in telling you information prior about my family. But what I would do, I know my family well. Tumesema vizuri, families have secrets. Yeah. Kama najua wanatandikanga vitambaa kwa kiti, and I know very well that does not sit well with me, then I'll tell them I'm bringing a guest and kindly mimi msitandike vitambaa kwa kiti. Isn't it tumeweka kwa ukuta, tafadhali toeni. Too much calendars on the wall, please remove. And any other thing, I will not tell them how to conduct themselves, because I believe let people form bonds or relationships with people based off how they relate to each other. Yeah. So let them have their own experience. Let her come and my dad speak the way he speaks. Amzoe hivyo. Kwa sababu hii nimemwambia my dad anakuanga hivi na hivi, and then you come and realize that he's actually not, that day he has put on a face that he's actually not who he is.
Yeah.
We kuja pata hiyo siku ni mpole, next time come he's tough, and then you're like, oh okay, so there's this also side of him. So you come and discover, come and adventure for yourself, come and discover it for yourself.
It is not actually a disclaimer for that day.
Like long term.
Long term, because this person has lived with these people for all his life. So at least anajua huyu sistangu anaweza kasirika haraka sana. So whenever you experience that specific incident, you know, okay, sitavuka your boundary.
It's easier for me to deal with such a case once you come deal with my sister, she's tough on you or she's strict, and then you come and tell me, babe, but this sister alifanya hivi, and then I sit you down. Let me tell you something. My sister is usually A, B, C, D, Z. I wanted you to experience it for yourself, and then I can take you now through the process and how to handle her. Before I give you a precaution and tell you how to handle her, before you see the experience for yourself.
Now let me ask, based on that, and give an instance. First, let me just give this instance, and then let's see from there.
Okay.
There's this scenario of a mom who is very particular about liking things the way they are. Uwache tu nyumba hivyo, bedroom yangu usiguze, kama nimerusha hapo kikombe najua hiyo kikombe iko hapo juu ya nini. So don't move anything. And then your spouse comes in, or you as the spouse, you come in out of the kindness of your heart. Umeanza kuclean nyumba, upange kila kitu where you think things should be. And that sometimes we do that from a good place, but we don't realize that we are crossing people's boundaries, and we don't realize that umefanya makosa. So umekuja umepanga nyumba. Mama yako amekuja amekelelesha spouse wako, kama ni demu yako, bibi yako, umepiga kelele, you don't even understand why I'm being shouted at, because I thought I did something that was good. I did something that was right. And that scares off your partner. Maybe it's just a girlfriend, you're still courting, mnajuana. That scares them off, because perhaps you'll take the side of your mom because you understand your mom and you haven't explained this is what my mom likes to your spouse. And maybe your spouse is not as understanding to be patient to understand, okay, this is an isolated case, this is how I should deal with it, and this is how she is, so moving forward I'll know. Na uscare off partner wako hivyo. Doesn't it help in that case, or in similar cases, to give your partner some idea of, my mom is particular, my mom likes this, my mom likes that, or even just to tell your parents as well, my girlfriend is a bit particular, so you have to do this, that, because you want the situation to work, you want this to be a marriage, and even if it gets to a marriage, now you're a family. Let's say you're living in the same homestead. Say with Christmas, you're probably there for like 2-3 weeks. Mmeka sirikiana nyinyi wote. Na ni 23rd. Mjanza kupika. Doesn't it help in that situation then to give your partner or your parent an idea of, this is what you should expect from them. So I know you have the urge to clean and do all these things, but elewa mam hapendi hivyo.
Giving them an idea, I absolutely agree with that. I'm open to giving them an idea, but telling them exactly who they are and the kind of a personality they have, I think that's where I'll hold back on that information. But telling them that actually when you go home, this is how my mom, we love serving food this way. It's my dad who starts first. Don't just go and start serving me. It's my dad who is served first. And my dad is served the thigh and probably hip at ya kuku. Don't go giving him the neck. Those briefs I will tell her. But like getting deeper into their personalities
Yeah.
is where I'll draw the line. I'd be like, I want you to experience it for yourself.
Nice. And now let me flip it to you, Hilda. There are people who put you in certain situations, or they leave you to experience situations for yourself because they want to see how you can handle it. How strong are you to handle the situation? Because I was just watching this movie the other day of this guy, it's Crazy Rich Asians. So the family is so strict because they come from this wealthy line, and they are afraid this woman is coming for the money and to take away the heir. And this guy just lets the girl experience the family because he wants to see, can she handle being in those situations? Long term, 10 years from now, are you still going to be with me? Can you handle everything that's going to come your way? Because more and more like that is going to happen. So what do you think about that? When you put in a situation where you have to be tested about unapenda huyu mtu sana paka you're willing to endure all these things just to stick with them. Yeah, would you endure ama how do you bring up that conversation with your spouse about?
I still stand on the disclaimer. Just tell me.
Yeah.
Tell me before I get there. Because I know how much people can clash on just that one incident. So for me, ukiwa umeniambia, I will know how to handle this person. I will know when this thing pops up, I'll lay back. Because I know tutakuja tuongee baadaye. I will not get mad at that because watu wana clashing hivyo, especially with their in-laws.
Yeah.
Just one incident and it can even ruin your marriage, just like that. So I believe in communication. Just tell me. Let me come, please. Sitaki kukua shocked nikiwa ndani ya marriage and I cannot walk out. Tell me so that I can come and know how to handle that specific situation when it comes. Now I will handle it with wisdom.
I have something to say. This is based on what I have seen happen in families. In my family, where somebody is given prior information about a family and they even proceed or go further to hate on certain people within the family because they already have a perspective about them. So like ule anakuanga na mdomo, that one you already hate them because you are told ule anakuanga na, and when you are not even given, you didn't give yourself an opportunity to experience them and get to know them. So we are human beings. You know, when I walk into this this space and then somebody tells me Cheryl anakuanga na maringo, I'll already form a judgment about you. Even how I'll approach you is totally different because there's something I already know about you. Unlike when I just walk in here and somebody has not told me anything about you. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Let people experience people by themselves because their relationship might end up being different. You know, in as much as you want to give you prior information so that you don't clash and all that stuff. But how about what if it doesn't actually, you don't clash?
Yeah.
So what then happens? And you already have a perception about them. Because now what happens is the whole time, hata isikuwa sipobie vivyo, the whole time you're just waiting for them to the one day they'll act like that. You're looking forward to it. That's not the right thing to do.
Yeah. I think I understand what he's saying.
Yeah.
And for people are different. Kuna tu, we are human like he has said. It's normal. Ukiambiwa kitu kuhusu Cheryl, that is what you'll have in your mind.
That's true.
And even you might treat her different based on what you have had. So for me, I am coming from an intentional level. You see, we are now in this family. Now I have to deal with your siblings now. The love is there. I will show you all the love that you need. My only problem is when that one moment comes where I know this is how you'll react, I will not overreact together with you. I will handle that situation with wisdom. So people are different, and I totally understand because we are human. That is how we perceive people. Tukishapatiwa prior information. So your point is very valid.
So I feel like it's just both points have some validity, and it's about just giving. It's ni kama kupatia mtu heads up. Okay, like you're going to meet them. I want to experience. I want you to experience them by yourself. But be prepared for this, and that. This might happen. I'm not saying it will. Just in case ujue how to handle. So that usishtue mtu wako kwa sababu ya one situation. Now as we wind up the conversation, I'm wondering about the importance of you meshing with the family or your spouse meshing with even your friends. What is the importance? Do they have to get along with your family members? Do they have to get along with your friends? Because sometimes they don't get along with your friends, ama they don't get along with who, and you're like, okay, kama hujazoeana tena cousins wangu, kuna kashida. you know, because then you can't really hang out together.
Yeah.
So how important is it for you to mesh with the family and for them to mesh with your family? Hilda?
I would say this. Like I said earlier, people are different. And it's good to have a good relationship with people. That's
Yeah.
why the Bible says, don't grow weary in doing good. Sometimes you can get tired of being the good person.
Yeah.
Now, on the other side, they are not good. But I feel like that relationship is important. The most important thing to know is just the boundaries. When you understand the boundaries, you will have a good relationship with with your friends and your partner's family members. Yeah.
I like that.
Just understanding who you are and knowing hapa kuna kwa hii maisha lazima tukue na boundaries. You cannot be just crossing people's boundaries like that.
Yeah.
So it's important to note that.
And it's part of being respectful
Yes.
towards people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Glantville, what do you have to say on that?
I don't like the fact that I'm opposing everything. And it's not intentional.
It's
It's not intentional. So here's the thing. I don't think I would be comfortable enough where my partner or the lady I'm dating is friends with, or rather the relationship they have with my friends is that up close, or they're able to mash up with them. And this is because I feel like if my friends decide to be my enemy, they can also be part of, you know? I feel like if I'm dating you, know these are my friends, respect them.
Yeah.
Don't be their friend. You are my partner. You are not their friend. I am their friend.
Oh.
So you're an acquaintance.
Same thing happens to you. You have your friends. I know them. Sharon is your friend. Mercy is your friend. But I don't want to be their friend. I know them. If I want something, if I want to reach you, probably you're not in the house, I could call one of them. Basically, like a cordial call. Just, you know, where's Cheryl? I'm looking for. Done. But where you can even hang out with my friends. I can hang out
No,
with
we
your
didn't
friends.
say that.
Yeah.
That
Like
one,
just
that one is a
getting
no.
along.
Yeah, that one is a no.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I'm
I
also in
agree.
agreement where,
Yeah.
because women have this thing where there's boundaries.
Boundaries.
You can't hang out with my spouse or what. Even
Imagine.
after. I feel like even with my friend's husband, I don't talk to them outside of anything professional or without my friend being there. I'm like, hi.
That's weird. That's weird.
Because who are you?
Yeah, who are you? What are you saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are boundaries there.
Yeah.
But what about your family?
With family, I don't mind. In fact, I'd be more happy if they can actually blend
Relate
in
well.
and just, relate well.
Yeah.
Because I would want them to feel like you're one of us. You're now one of us. You are us now. You're part of this family.
Yeah.
So, I want you to relate with everyone well.
I like
With
that.
friends as well, just draw the line.
Yeah.
So let me ask you both this one last question and then you
Yes.
can give me your parting shot.
Okay.
What about posting them on social media? Because we have online family and in-laws.
They have invested in the
They're
relationship.
invested. So at what point do you introduce? At what point do you post them? Ruvinzo. Do kama unapeleka kwa mam kesho. Online in-laws wanamuona lini. Leo jioni ya mam.
That's a good one. But initially, I would say I've changed. I'm transformed man. Because initially I was so quick to post.
Yeah.
But now I don't think I'm okay with that. And not because I don't love them or anything. It's just that in the event that this does not work out, usually it's a lot of work coming back online to start explaining. And you have to explain.
Because
It's so hard to move on. It's so hard to move on. Like if it was a page, it was a couple's page. It's so hard to move to the next content without you talking about what happened to the previous kind of post you used to do. It's hard to move on.
Do you know how crazy it is that we're more answerable to the people online than our parents
my
about
God.
our failures?
Yes.
Hilda, what about you? Do you post your
I
stars?
also agree with him because like I said, I used to be that girl. Hey, asubuhi tumeamka ma photos. People should know couple goals, you know. Hey. Nikasema hii maisha.
Yeah.
I can humble you.
Yeah.
So there's just an extent you can just not go. Alafu people are different. They have different personalities. You can date a man who is not okay with social media.
True.
And there are people who are in the same space, content creators, and they are dating, you know. So it just depends with the two of you and how far is too far.
Yeah.
But don't
I
find
like
validation
that.
on social media.
I like that.
Another problem I have with that is the day you will stop posting, probably you don't even have a problem with your partner or spouse,
Yeah.
but you have not posted them. It brings
People
issues
assume.
it brings issues into the relationship, because I feel like, why didn't you post me today, and you're posting me yesterday and the day before yesterday,
Yeah.
and probably today you are just not in the right moods to post them. So
Yeah.
again, you tell them, today I was not in the mood. You're like, so you have stopped loving me, so you no longer want to
It's a
post
whole
me.
thing.
So let me not
Yeah.
post you at all. Let me post you when I feel I want to post you, but not let me making it be a responsibility where I have to post you because we're in a relationship. So now I have to keep showing people that, you know what, I'm actually dating person ABC now.
I like that. So I think that brings us to the end of our conversation. It's been very, very interesting. So just tell us a bit of a parting shot, because today is Tuko Boxing Day. We have New Year's coming up next week. And you're probably going back home to your families and all that. So what is our parting shot? And then you can tell us where we can get you on socials in case we want to follow you and reach out afterwards. Let's start with Hilda.
This is what I'll say to anyone who is watching. It is better to be single than to be in a wrong relationship.
I like that.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yeah. Rubin
The family you create is more important than the family you come from, and learn to prioritize your happiness and self-satisfaction first. Remember, you cannot spread happiness to other people if yourself you're not happy. So yeah, on social media you can find me, Melanin King, across all social media platforms. And by the way, I actually have a podcast, Life Unfiltered Podcast 254. They can also check it out.
I like that. Hilda, did you tell us where we can get you?
You can find me at Hilda Lumati on all social media platforms. I have a YouTube channel. The channel is called Unfold with Spe. Go and subscribe. And I'm also an author. I've authored a book called Married a Virgin. Just give me a call, 0739 77 97 62.
Thank you. That's wonderful. And I think that concludes our show.
Yeah.
You've given us everything that we need. I think we have gotten something from this conversation. I personally have learned something from it. I hope you have as well. It's okay to go through the different phases with your partner, but you have to agree. Both of you have to agree through every single stage what you want to do, and always move with that. When you know yourself and you know your partner, then it's very easy to make some of these decisions about when to introduce them, how to introduce them, and the entire process of all that, how to handle it. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening into this entire conversation. We'll have a repeat of this tomorrow between 1 and 2 p.m. and it's also going to go up on YouTube, so you can find us there. But for now, have a good night. It's been a pleasure, and Happy New Year, and may this festive season be festive and happy for you. May it be joyful, and may you enjoy with your friends and your family. Good night.